So to me, it honestly seems like raising a child in Placer County is a bit like Russian roulette. You hope that it won't be your child that dies next. Of course, you would expect that with the number of fatalities of young people that seems to occur in the area, that the community would be trying to draw attention to these deaths and calling for change. What if it was your child next time? What if it was your grandchild next time? Your niece, your nephew? Normal human behaviour, as far as I would expect, would be to look at what's happening and be demanding answers and demanding change. We know that Kylie went to a drug and alcohol fueled party the night that she disappeared and then subsequently died. We know that while Trinity wasn't at a party, she was provided with drugs. Something bad happened to Trinity too. We still don't know what, because that's a really sus case. But we do know that she supposedly was having a bad trip when she ran out the door of that house. Dante, still a mystery to this day what happened. That case has been kept super quiet. And as for community members screaming for answers for these 3 children and for the other children that have died, silence. Crickets. Has it just become such an accepted thing that if you raise kids in the area, you might lose them? That people just sit back and go, well, there goes another one. I can't do anything about it. I can't make a change. We heard from so many people the attitude in the area towards underage parties, underage drinking, and underage drink driving. Megan Cole told us a lot of this herself. She was going to these same parties back in 1997 when she graduated from high school. They're just normal. They're just what the kids do in the area. They're just accepted. And as for the drink driving, going to the parties, getting totally wasted, and drink driving, well, apparently that's quite acceptable and normal too. They've been doing that for years. After all, the town rolls up at 9 o'clock and there's no one on the roads, so these kids know how to get themselves home safely when they're totally drunk and shouldn't be driving. And for some of them, are driving past their curfew hour. Of course, you'd think that authorities would have taken Kylie's case as a cautionary tale and perhaps started trying to pay more attention to when these parties were occurring, to pay more attention to when these kids were drink driving, right? I mean, a 16-year-old child vanishes from a party which law enforcement themselves admit was way too big, was drug and alcohol fueled, and probably should have been shut down long before the possibility of a death occurred. But now you've got spring break. Have the parties stopped since Kylie died? Do the kids still party out at the lake or wherever they can hide from law enforcement? Do they still drive home drunk? Apparently so. So, spring break Sounds like the kids have been celebrating a bit and enjoying their freedom. Sadly, this has cost yet another young life, with 4 other teens badly injured.
Out of some developing news from Placer County, where a 16-year-old was killed and 4 other teens hurt in an overnight crash in Forest Hills. The teens were driving eastbound on Forest Hill Road. This is east of Mayflower when an SUV missed a turn and slammed into a tree. The driver died. 4 passengers had major injuries. The CHP says they're still investigating this crash, but they do believe alcohol was involved. All but one of the teens attended Forest Hill High School, which is out for spring break this week.
So you have 5 teenagers in a car well after curfew for a 16-year-old. And they're saying that they believe alcohol was involved. It's lucky that only one of those children was killed. So, are people going to continue in Placer County to stick their heads in the sand and say, well, I went out partying there when I was a teenager. It's happened. It's been going on for 20 odd years. It's just what happens here. It's what our kids do. It's free range parenting. We let our kids do what they like. When's it going to end? How many more kids are going to die before Placer County start policing these parties, start holding people accountable for providing alcohol and drugs at these parties? And until they start actually penalising parents for allowing their children to attend parties like these, something's got to give. Placer County, the world is watching you now. You can't keep burying these deaths, because we're not going to let you keep burying these deaths. It's time to stop these underage drunken parties, to stop these kids from driving home drunk just because, well, town rolls up at 9 o'clock, so there's no one on the road. No, there was no one else on the road when these kids, this carload of kids, ploughed into a tree. There was no other vehicle involved. They weren't safe on the road. You're not safe on the road driving drunk just because there's no other vehicles involved. And when you're 16 and driving drunk, the chances of you finding yourself wrapped around a tree are far, far greater because you are an inexperienced driver. It needs to end. And it needs to end now.
Together, look in the mirror, tell myself you're doing better. Yeah. Ooh, oh, oh, yeah. Oh no, oh, oh. Stars in the sky make me think about you. The love in my eyes, get you tell it's all for you. Loyalty in my blood, I will never fool on you. Put your trust in me, and I'll put my love in you. Okay, baby, it's just us in this world. Nobody can change that. Hey, we gon' fuck up in this world, and we can't change that. Stay up all night, you and me. When I'm with you, I feel free. Stay up all night, you and me. When I'm with you, I feel free.